All right, guys, this is the relearning for Unit 3, Week 3. So this is the week that we learned all about proportional relationships and their representations on graphs. The very first thing that we learned was that a proportional relationship on a graph has to start at 0 and make a straight line. That is the very first thing we talked about. If we have something that starts somewhere other than 0 and still makes a straight line, it is not proportional. If you start at 0, but it makes some kind of curve like this, that is not proportional. That's the very first thing we learned. I feel like most of us have that. The next thing that we learned is that the constant goes with the 1. So if we look on our 1 here, 1 on the x, right? Because when we have any type of table, whatever we do, we divide backwards, and the number with the 1 would be our constant. So you have to find the 1 on the x because the x is on the bottom. So find the 1 on the bottom, go up to where it touches a crisscross, and go over, and that would be your COP. If we look at a point where, let's see. All right, so this is a pretty good example here. If we have a graph where we look at the 1 and we go up and that doesn't touch a crisscross, I'm not confident that I know what that number is. So you are going to follow the line until you do come to a crisscross. You're going to go down. So we have a 2. You got to name the point, 2, 10. And just as if that was in a table, the x is 2, the y is 10. Divide backwards. 10 divided by 2 would give you 5 as your COP. And then the very last thing we talked about was, let me go back to, the last thing we talked about, or one of the last things we talked about, was how to tell from okay, we did that. Sorry, guys. The last thing we talked about was how to tell, like just from the graph or an equation, which line has, what's going faster, what's going more quickly, the steeper the line. So we talked about this idea of a steep line. Okay, we talked about the idea of the steeper the line, the faster it goes. So if we look at this one, oops. Here we go. Let me use my line tool. So this line right here is the steepest line, that red line. So that turtle, if these are representing 3 turtles, that turtle is going the fastest. The line that is the least steep, so the hill you would rather go up, that's what's going the slowest. And then from the equations, so we've got these 3 numbers. We have 2, 1.25, and 1/2. The biggest number is 2, therefore, so that's your biggest COP, then that turtle is going the fastest. So the biggest thing you need to remember here is that the steeper the line is, the faster it goes. You might have to, in this cool down, we talked about how you might be given information and have to match it to one of the lines. So it says, after 3 seconds, Kayla walked 6. So Kayla is 3 and 6. Daniela, after 3 seconds, walked 12 feet. So what you would have to do is, this is Kayla, this is Daniela. Divide backwards. 6 divided by 3 is a constant of 2. Daniela, divide backwards. 12 divided by 3 is a constant of 4. So Daniela here is going to be the person who's walking the fastest. So we would move her up to the steepest line. Kayla would be the less steep line. And then as far as writing an equation, it says write an equation for Kayla. So we'd be looking at this right here. We know our constant is 2. It says use D for distance and T for time. So what you have to do is match up. 3 seconds would be time. So time would go over here. And then your distance would be 6 feet. So we know it has to look like y equals 2x, and then we just match our letters up. So D is in the y spot, so it would be D equals 2t as for writing the equation.